chosen one. Breathe for a moment and let your spirit recognize the weight of this hour. You are not here by accident. You were drawn to this exact moment because your prophetic scroll is being unsealed in perfect kairos timing. Heaven has waited for this. Your spirit has felt it. And now the appointed moment written for you before your first breath is opening like a hidden chapter, long protected by the throne. Anointed one, you are standing at the edge of a destined unveiling. A sealed prophecy is cracking open. What has been concealed is rising to the surface. What was whispered in the spirit is preparing to manifest in the natural today, tonight, or in the coming hours. This is the moment spoken of in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3, when the vision waits for an appointed time and then rushes toward fulfillment. That time is now. You are stepping into a divine unlocking that will not delay, and heaven is aligning your awareness to receive it. So still your heart, awaken your spirit, and lean in. The clock of eternity has struck its hour over your life. Something sacred is crossing from the unseen into your reality. Prepare yourself, chosen one. What comes next carries the power to shift everything. Chosen one. As you breathe in this moment, let your spirit recognize that heaven is drawing you into a deeper unveiling, a kairos alignment prepared for you long before you even had language for spiritual things. This is not simply revelation. This is activation. A hidden scroll within your destiny is beginning to loosen, a seal is cracking, and the light that enters is not coming to frighten you, but to awaken the part of you that always knew you were set apart for something heavier and holier than ordinary life. I speak these words not as theory, but as someone who has walked through my own seasons of divine interruption, moments when God stepped in so clearly that I could no longer pretend nothing was happening. Those moments changed the architecture of my soul, and I recognize the same shift in you now. When heaven interrupts, it is because the appointed hour has arrived, the one spoken of in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1, where every purpose finally meets its season. Anointed one, when you are living in that season right now, there is a reason your spirit has been unsettled, a reason you have been sensing things before they surface, catching emotional changes in the room, even when no one speaks. This sensitivity is not a burden. It is a sign. Heaven sharpens the ones it trusts most, and you have been feeling the sharpening without understanding why. But tonight, understanding begins. The atmosphere around your life has been shifting because God is preparing you to handle revelation that others in your household are not spiritually equipped to carry. You've always noticed the little tremors, the slight heaviness in someone's voice, the shift in their eyes, the way silence suddenly feels different. You learn to brush it aside because life demanded that you stay strong, but heaven never forgot the gift placed inside you. That gift of discernment is awakening because something in your environment has crossed a spiritual threshold. You felt it before you had words for it, and that alone is proof that this message is reaching the right person. Chosen one. The truth connected to your sister is not coming to destroy her. It is coming to free you. So much of your life you have been the one holding peace together, carrying emotional weight that was never acknowledged, stepping quietly into the gaps others left behind. You learned to endure storms without telling anyone you were drenched. You learned to smile while your spirit was shivering. That quiet strength made you dependable, but it also made you the one heaven trusted with revelation. And now heaven is showing you what has been hidden in the shadows around your home, not to expose someone for the sake of exposure, but to align your household back into spiritual order. There is a stirring happening inside your sister, one she does not yet understand. Choices made in secrecy months ago created openings she wasn't prepared to handle, and the weight of those choices has been leaking into the atmosphere around you. You didn't imagine the tension, you didn't imagine the sudden fatigue or the strange heaviness lingering in the air. These were not emotional fluctuations, they were signals. When heaven warns, it warns, through shifts, in silence, changes in energy, prayers that suddenly feel resisted, dreams that become strangely vivid. You have been experiencing all of this, and your spirit has been responding even when your mind did not fully comprehend it. I need you to hear this with clarity. You are not being pulled into drama. You are being positioned for deliverance. This is not about confrontation. It is about alignment. When something in a home becomes spiritually out of order, heaven reveals it first to the one with the strongest sensitivity, the one with the clearest heart posture, the one whose spirit is awake enough to understand without reacting in rage. That one is you. You were chosen because you do not weaponize truth. You steward it. You hold it with trembling reverence, and heaven knows you will walk gently even when the truth is heavy. Chosen one, breathe again. You are stepping into a divine assignment crafted specifically for your temperament, your endurance, your compassion. The scroll is opening. The timing is perfect. And heaven is trusting you with what comes next. Chosen one. As you step deeper into this unfolding revelation, understand that heaven is not simply handing you information. It is ushering you into a moment of divine responsibility, a moment where your spirit must rise above human emotion so you can see the larger architecture of what God is doing around you. There are times in life when truth does not arrive gently. It arrives with weight, with a strange pressure in the chest, with restlessness that makes sleep feel thin and peace feel distant. That is what happens when a hidden season is ending. And right now, a hidden season connected to your sister is reaching its expiration. You did not cause it. You are not responsible for what she stepped into. But you are the one heaven is calling to stand at the threshold as this truth crosses from darkness into light. Not to judge, but to witness. Not to accuse, but to align. Not to expose her, but to protect the destiny tied to both of your lives. Anointed one. There is a spiritual tension you have been feeling, an unspoken sense that something in your environment has shifted energy that feels off, moments of unexplained irritation or waves of sadness that do not belong to you. These feelings were not random. They were signals sent to your spirit so you would pay attention. Heaven often speaks through intuition, long before it speaks through events, and your intuition has been sounding the alarm for weeks. You began noticing that her presence felt different, that conversations carried a hidden heaviness, that her silence felt louder than her words. These impressions were not overthinking. They were early warnings from the realm of the spirit, guiding you toward understanding before the revelation itself arrived. What your sister stepped into was not a rebellion against you. It was an escape from something within herself. Wounds she never addressed, comparisons she carried from childhood, expectations she felt she could never meet. These became open doors for choices made in weakness. And while heaven has compassion for her pain, those doors allowed shadows to enter places they were never meant to be. Shadows linger quietly at first. They blend in, settling into routines, disguising themselves as stress or exhaustion. But over time, they begin to influence the atmosphere around them. That is why your sleep felt interrupted, why your thoughts felt weighed down, why peace seemed to slip through your fingers, even when nothing dramatic was happening around you. You were catching the spiritual residue of her decisions, because the two of you share more than space. You share blood history, and emotional pathways. When she drifted spiritually, the ripple reached you. Chosen one. This is why heaven is revealing the truth to you first. You are the one with the clarity to see without collapsing, the one with the strength to hold revelation without turning it into condemnation. You have carried emotional burdens your entire life, not because you were meant to be the family's silent warrior, but because your heart was shaped to recognize pain even when it hides behind a smile. You learned to read people not through their words, but through the tremble in their energy, the shift in their tone, the distance in their eyes. This sensitivity has been a gift heaven nurtured within you for this very moment. You are being entrusted with truth because heaven knows you will carry it with wisdom. But listen closely, anointed one. The revelation is not only about what she did, it is about what you are becoming through this. This moment is sharpening you, refining you, preparing you for a future role that requires spiritual maturity and emotional discipline. There will be moments ahead when people connected to your destiny will need your discernment, your calm, your strength, and your spiritual clarity. This situation with your sister is not merely a challenge, it is training, it is initiation. Heaven is shaping you into someone who can stand in truth without trembling, someone who can confront darkness without using darkness, someone who can hold peace even when the atmosphere shakes. This is what makes you a chosen one. And now the Spirit is moving you into deeper preparation. Do not let fear lead you. Do not let anxiety interpret the signs. This is not a warning of destruction. It is a call into spiritual authority. The truth about your sister will surface soon, but when it does, your response must come from a place of grounded strength. Heaven is asking you to remain steady, to breathe, to observe, to let revelation unfold without forcing anything. Your role is not to drag truth into the open. Your role is to be ready when truth arrives on its own. Chosen one, take heart. You are not alone in this. Heaven is with you. The scroll is opening wider, and your spirit is growing stronger with each passing moment. Chosen one, breathe and steady your heart, because what you are stepping into now is the deeper layer of revelation, the part where heaven begins to show you not just what is happening around you, but why your spirit has been prepared for this very hour. There are moments in life when truth approaches slowly, almost gently through impressions, dreams, or subtle shifts in energy. But then there are moments like this, moments when truth begins pressing forward with unmistakable urgency, because the appointed time has arrived for something concealed to be addressed. You are living inside one of those appointed moments. The atmosphere around your life has been thick with signals, and your spirit has been responding even when your mind tried to dismiss them as stress or coincidence. But heaven does not work through coincidence. Heaven works through alignment. And right now, alignment is taking place in ways you cannot yet see, but can already feel. Anointed one. The heaviness you sensed around your sister did not come out of nowhere. It did not arrive suddenly, even if it felt sudden. Shadows rarely enter a life with noise. They enter silently, slipping through emotional cracks, wearing the disguise of unresolved wounds, unspoken disappointments, or momentary compromises. What began as a single decision months ago grew roots quietly. Those roots spread into her thoughts, into her choices, and eventually into the spiritual atmosphere she carried into every room. And because you are spiritually sensitive, because your soul is wired to detect shifts before others even notice them, you started absorbing the spiritual residue long before you understood its origin. This is why your sleep became lighter, why your spirit felt more alert at night, why your emotions seemed to pick up weight that did not belong to you. I know you questioned yourself. You wondered whether you were imagining things, whether you were being too sensitive, whether you were reading too deeply into silence or glances or brief moments in the day. But chosen one, your sensitivity is not a flaw, it is your gift. Heaven sharpened you for this exact assignment because someone with a dull spirit would have missed every sign. Someone less awake would have walked past the warning. But you felt the tremors. You felt the atmosphere thickening. You felt the shift that others were too distracted to notice. This alone is evidence that heaven chose the right heart to carry this revelation. But now heaven is shifting focus. This revelation is not just about knowing, it is about becoming. You are being shaped into someone who can stand in truth without breaking under its weight. You are being refined into someone who can hold peace even as the people around you unravel. You are being prepared for a spiritual assignment that reaches far beyond this moment with your sister. In my own life, I've walked through seasons where God revealed truths I didn't feel ready to face. I thought the revelation was about the other person, but in time I discovered it was shaping me into someone stronger, clearer, more anchored and more aligned with heaven's purpose. You are walking that same path now. Heaven does not trust heavy revelation to fragile spirits, and the very fact that this message found you proves that your spirit has matured more than you realize. Anointed. 1. Don't rush ahead. Don't jump to conclusions. What is coming will unfold naturally, almost quietly, through small moments that reveal more than dramatic ones ever could. A misplaced item, a slip of the tongue, a strange message, a sudden shift in her tone. These subtle things will piece together the picture. But your role is not to chase truth. Your role is to remain steady so that when truth rises, you meet it with wisdom rather than fear. What heaven is doing in your sister is between her and God. What heaven is doing in you is preparation. You are being strengthened for a future where your discernment will protect more than just your household. It will protect your destiny, your relationships, your path forward, and the blessings assigned to your life. So breathe, chosen one. The scroll is still opening, the revelation is still unfolding, and your spirit is rising into the maturity heaven always knew you would grow into. Chosen one. As we move deeper into this divine unveiling, allow your spirit to recognize that what you are walking through is more than revelation. It is refinement. You are being shaped into someone who can interpret spiritual movement without collapsing under emotional weight, someone who can stand still while everything around you begins to stir. Many people live their entire lives without ever noticing when heaven is speaking. They miss the gentle nudges, the warnings wrapped in intuition, the way certain conversations echo in the spirit long after the moment has passed. But you are not like them. You are awake in ways you do not fully understand, and this awakening is the very reason why heaven chose to speak to you before the situation reached a point of no return. This unfolding is not a crisis. It is mercy in motion. Anointed one, think back to the small moments you brushed aside, the atmosphere that felt unusually heavy when she walked into the room, the sudden shift in your emotions when she sat beside you, the way conversations with her felt shorter, flatter, or tinged with something you couldn't quite identify. You noticed it all, but you didn't know what to do with it. You tried to rationalize it. You blamed tiredness, stress, timing, even yourself. But the truth is simple. Your spirit detected the spiritual weight she was carrying long before your mind could name it. This is what happens when someone's hidden decisions begin to leak into the atmosphere. And because your discernment is sharp, because heaven has trained you through past seasons of spiritual turbulence, you recognize the imbalance even when you could not explain it. What your sister stepped into was not a calculated rebellion. It was a moment of weakness that spiraled. People rarely fall in one dramatic collapse. They drift quietly. They drift through unhealed wounds, compromises made in a moment of fear, relationships they shouldn't entertain, or secrets they convince themselves they can manage alone. But shadows grow in silence, and what began as something she thought she could control eventually grew into something that began to influence the entire environment around her. That influence is what you have been feeling, and heaven is revealing it not to place blame, but to correct the spiritual imbalance affecting your home. Shimona, I need you to understand something deeply. Heaven chose you because you do not confront truth with violence. You confront it with clarity. You confront it with spiritual steadiness. You confront it with the kind of quiet authority that makes darkness uneasy. When heaven reveals hidden things, it always chooses the one who can carry revelation without turning it into destruction, and that individual in this case is you. You are the one with strength wrapped in gentleness, the one who can hold difficult truth without letting it corrode your heart, the one whose spirit bends without breaking. Many mistake quiet strength for weakness, but heaven does not. Heaven sees the endurance in you that others overlook, the spiritual sensitivity you've tried to downplay, the discernment that has been growing within you since childhood. In my own journey, I have walked through moments when God showed me truths about people I loved, truths I never asked for, truths that felt heavy at first. But later, I realized those revelations were divine interventions, not punishments. They protected me from decisions that would have derailed my purpose. They taught me to trust what my spirit sensed, even when my mind doubted it. You are standing in that same sacred space now. Heaven is revealing this not because you are fragile, but because you are ready. The revelation is not meant to harm you. It is meant to elevate you. Anointed One. The next phase of this journey will not come through dramatic events. It will come through clarity, small truths rising to the surface, quiet confirmations, subtle moments that suddenly make sense. Your role is not to chase or demand answers. Your role is to remain spiritually stable so that when the truth arrives, you meet it with wisdom rather than fear. You are not stepping into confrontation. You are stepping into alignment, and heaven will guide your steps, one moment at a time. Chosen. 1. You are being prepared for more than a single revelation. You are being prepared for a new level of spiritual authority. Chosen 1. As we enter this next movement of your unfolding revelation, let your spirit settle into the truth that heaven is not only revealing what has been hidden, but also strengthening what has been dormant within you. There is a spiritual intelligence rising in you, a deeper awareness that has been forming quietly in the background of your life. You have felt it during moments when your intuition was louder than logic, when you sensed something shifting long before events confirmed it, when your dreams carried an urgency you couldn't fully explain. These were not random. They were early markers that heaven was preparing you for this moment, a moment when discernment must be your compass and peace must be your anchor. You are stepping into a new depth of spiritual maturity, and this situation with your sister is the doorway that heaven is using to elevate your awareness. Anointed One. The truth is that spiritual imbalance in a home is rarely caused by malice. More often it originates from pain, from someone carrying wounds they never healed, from a heart that has been stretched too thin for too long, from silent disappointments that began as whispers and grew into patterns. Your sister has been walking through a valley she never talked about, carrying fears she never spoke aloud and making choices she believed would give her temporary comfort. But choices rooted in fear always open doors that become difficult to close. And because you share emotional and spiritual proximity with her, those open doors began affecting you even when you had no involvement in their origin. That is how the spiritual realm operates. Nothing happens in isolation. Everything has impact. You did not imagine the sudden heaviness that filled the air around certain conversations. You did not imagine the strange tension that appeared even on ordinary days. And you certainly did not imagine the slow fading of her light. You sensed all of it because your spirit has always been attuned to the emotional and spiritual shifts in the people you love. When someone you care for begins drifting from alignment, you feel the tremor long before they see the cliff. That sensitivity is not a burden. It is a divine instrument that heaven is sharpening even now, yet chosen one. This revelation is not meant to weigh your heart down. It is meant to lift your eyes. You are being shown spiritual truth so you can rise above emotional reactions. You're not called to fix her. You're called to stand in a posture that allows heaven to work through you without obstruction. That means holding peace even when the atmosphere stirs. It means letting compassion guide your thoughts even when truth feels heavy. It means remembering that heaven's correction is always rooted in love, never punishment. What your sister is entangled in is not beyond redemption. But the first step toward her freedom is your clarity. When you see clearly, you respond clearly. When you understand spiritually, you act spiritually. And that is the path heaven is placing in front of you now. In my own life, I have learned that revelation does not come to embarrass or expose. It comes to heal. I've walked through seasons when someone close to me made choices that affected everyone around them. At first, I took their actions personally, but with time and prayer, I realized that God was not showing me their mistakes to burden me. He was showing me so that I could stand as a vessel of peace when truth finally surfaced. You are in the same type of season now. Heaven is not pointing your eyes toward her shadow. Heaven is focusing your heart toward her healing. But before healing can occur, truth must be acknowledged. And you have been chosen as the one who carries the maturity to recognize truth without letting it turn your heart bitter. Chosen one. This next phase will feel like clarity settling in slowly, piece by piece. You will notice small things aligning, memories resurfacing, conversations shifting, signs unfolding that confirm what heaven has already whispered to your spirit. Do not resist these moments. Do not doubt yourself. Heaven is speaking in a language your spirit understands. Allow yourself to listen. Anointed one, you are stronger than you realize. You are clearer than you give yourself credit for. And you are more spiritually prepared than you think. Heaven is not asking you to carry this alone. Heaven is asking you to stay present, stay discerning, and stay anchored in peace. The scroll is still opening, and you are still rising into the revelation written for this moment. Chosen one. As this revelation continues to unfold, I need you to understand that what heaven is doing in you now is as important as what heaven is exposing around you. This is not just a moment of insight. It is a moment of elevation. You are being shifted from spiritual instinct into spiritual authority, from sensing the atmosphere to shaping it, from reacting to revelation to carrying revelation with strength and composure. Heaven is not merely informing you. Heaven is promoting you. And this situation with your sister is the training ground for a level of discernment you will need for the next chapters of your destiny. Anointed one, think back over your life. There have been moments when you felt things long before others did. Times when you sensed someone's true intentions months before their actions revealed it. Times when you walked into a room and your spirit tightened even though everyone else seemed relaxed. Times when you knew you were supposed to walk away from a situation, a friendship, or an opportunity, even though nothing appeared wrong on the surface. You didn't always understand it. Sometimes you ignored it. Sometimes you doubted it. Sometimes you wondered if you were imagining things. But now you can see it clearly that sensitivity was not random. It was the early formation of a spiritual gift heaven planted in you long before you knew its purpose. And now that gift is fully awakening because heaven needs you alert, steady, and spiritually confident. What is happening with your sister is giving shape to your gift. It is teaching you to trust what your spirit perceives. It is teaching you to listen when heaven whispers. It is teaching you to respond with wisdom instead of emotion. These are not small lessons. These are the foundations of spiritual discernment, the kind needed by someone who has a destiny that crosses into leadership, restoration, and intercession. Chosen one, you are being prepared to stand in places you have not yet seen. You may think this moment is about your household, but heaven is thinking far beyond the walls you live in. Heaven is shaping you into someone who can protect destiny, not just your own, but the destinies of others connected to you. Your future relationships, your future assignments, your future calling will require this level of spiritual awareness. And heaven, in its perfect timing, is using this moment to grow you in ways that will anchor you for years to come. But do not misunderstand this. Being chosen to receive revelation first is not a burden. It is an honor. Heaven reveals truth to those whose hearts can hold it, whose spirits can carry it without collapsing into conflict, whose discernment is sharp enough to see without judging. You have that kind of spirit. You always have. Even as a child, you noticed things others overlooked. You felt emotions others hid. You understood silence others misinterpreted. These qualities made you different, and sometimes they made you feel like you didn't fit. But that difference is exactly why heaven trusts you now. What felt like a burden was actually preparation. Anointed one. The truth connected to your sister will reveal itself soon, but heaven is asking you to do something important. Observe without absorbing. You are not meant to carry her spiritual weight. You are meant to recognize it without letting it shape your emotions. That is the difference between empathy and discernment. Empathy feels everything. Discernment sees everything. And you are being called into discernment, not emotional entanglement. You can care for her without carrying what she carries. You can love her without losing yourself in her struggle. This balance is part of your elevation. In my own journey, I had to learn this the hard way. I once carried someone's pain so deeply that I mistook their spiritual battle for my own. It drained me, it confused me, it blurred my sense of direction. But when heaven finally taught me the difference between sensing and carrying, everything changed. I learned that revelation is not meant to drown you, it is meant to guide you. And that is what heaven wants for you now. You are not meant to sink under the weight of what you are sensing. You are meant to rise with understanding. Chosen one, brace yourself with peace. What lies ahead will make sense quickly in ways that feel almost too precise to dismiss. Conversations, expressions, unexpected moments, they will all begin to form a picture. And when that picture becomes clear, you will not be shaken. You will be ready. Heaven is strengthening you for that moment. Heaven is stabilizing your spirit. Heaven is preparing your heart. You are not walking into chaos. You are walking into clarity. And clarity always leads to liberation for you and for the one connected to you. Chosen one. As we move into this next unveiling, I want you to feel the steadiness settling into your spirit. Heaven is not only revealing hidden things, but also guiding you into a place of inner mastery where you no longer react to spiritual turbulence the way you once did. This part of the journey is about refinement. It is about learning how to stand in the middle of revelation without being pulled into emotional storms. It is about maturing into the version of yourself that heaven always intended you to become. You are stepping into a realm of discernment that few ever reach, and this moment with your sister is a catalyst heaven is using to strengthen your spiritual posture. 1. One of the reasons heaven chose you to receive this revelation first is because you have a history of sensing things before they surface. You have lived through seasons when your spirit detected dishonesty, even when someone smiled to your face. You have walked away from situations you couldn't explain logically, but later discovered heaven was protecting you. You have felt heaviness in environments where everyone else felt nothing. You have cried without knowing why, only for truth to reveal itself days later. These patterns are not weaknesses. They are marks of someone whose spirit is wired to perceive what lies beneath the surface. This is why the situation with your sister is reaching your spirit before it reaches your eyes. You are receiving the spiritual echo of her choices, the energetic residue of her internal struggle. Heaven is allowing you to sense this, not to frighten you, but to prepare you. Revelation without preparation is overwhelming. Revelation with preparation becomes empowering. And heaven is choosing empowerment for you. What your sister is carrying has been affecting the space around her, but heaven is giving you insight so you can navigate this moment with wisdom instead of fear. Chosen one. There is something else you must understand. When someone close to you enters a spiritual imbalance, it disrupts more than the atmosphere. It distorts communication. It creates emotional fog. It causes small misunderstandings to feel bigger than they are. You may have noticed moments where her words felt sharp when they didn't need to be, or where she withdrew without explanation, or where she seemed distracted even in the middle of conversation. These were signs of internal conflict. She has been wrestling with thoughts she didn't know how to voice, and in her silence, those thoughts became shadows that began shaping her behavior. But heaven is not revealing this so you can judge her. Heaven is revealing this so you can understand her. Every person carries battles others cannot see. And your sister's battle has been slowly reaching a breaking point. She has been caught between guilt and fear, between wanting to hide and wanting to confess, between protecting her image and protecting her soul. But she has not had the courage to speak. So heaven has chosen another route, revealing the truth to the one strong enough to receive it without collapsing. You, the chosen one. The one who can hold truths without letting it turn into bitterness. Anointed. 1. What you are feeling now is not the weight of her sin, it is the weight of your assignment. You are being called to stand as a spiritual anchor in a moment when she is losing her footing. This does not mean you must rescue her. It means you must remain grounded so that when truth surfaces, you are not swallowed by the emotional waves. Heaven is asking you to maintain peace, not passivity. Stillness, not silence. Strength, not hardness. You are being shaped into someone who responds instead of reacts, someone who observes without absorbing, someone who holds compassion without letting compassion blind them to truth. And let me tell you something from personal experience. There were times in my life when I sensed someone's truth long before they could admit it, and the knowledge felt like a burden I didn't ask for. But in time, I realized it was never a burden. It was a calling. Heaven trusted me with information, not because I was superior, but because I was steady. You have that steadiness too. You may not always feel it, but heaven sees it. Chosen one, as this revelation deepens, you will notice your emotions shifting in surprising ways. Some days you will feel unusually calm. Other days you may feel an intense spiritual alertness, as though heaven is whispering in the background of your thoughts. This is not instability. This is alignment. Your spirit is synchronizing with the unfolding truth, preparing you piece by piece, so that when everything becomes clear, you are fully ready. Heaven is not revealing this to break you. Heaven is revealing this to build you. And this inner construction is not just for this moment, it is for every moment ahead of you, where discernment will be your shield and clarity will be your guide. You are rising, chosen one. You are being strengthened, and you are closer to the full truth than you realize. Chosen one. As we step into this next unveiling, feel how heaven is guiding you with increasing clarity. Each layer of revelation is arriving with precision, not chaos. What you are experiencing is not a spiritual ambush. It is a divine unfolding, one step at a time, crafted in a way that your heart can handle. Heaven never overwhelms the soul it intends to elevate. It reveals truth, gradually allowing your spirit to adjust, strengthen, and rise. And with every passing moment, you are becoming more aligned with the very purpose heaven wrote over your life long before this season ever began. Anointed One. By now, you have realized that what you are sensing about your sister is not speculation. It is spiritual detection. There is a difference. Speculation comes from fear or imagination. But spiritual detection comes from discernment, the sacred ability to sense truth in the atmosphere before it materializes in the natural. You have been walking in this gift without formally naming it. Each time you felt a heaviness you could not explain, each time you sensed a shift in her tone or energy, each time your spirit awakened in the middle of the night, for no reason, heaven was whispering. These whispers were not warnings of disaster. They were invitations to awareness. Your sister has been entangled in something that grew slowly, not in one dramatic moment. People rarely fall through sudden collapse. They fall through small compromises. A conversation that should not have continued. A secret that should have been confessed early. A fear that should have been brought to the light. These silent steps led her into a spiritual entanglement she believed she could manage. But spiritual entanglements cannot be managed by human strength. They spread, they multiply, they influence, and over time they begin to impact the environment around them. That is why you felt the shift before anyone else did. Chosen. 1. Heaven is not pointing your eyes toward her shadow to humiliate her. Heaven is allowing you to see the pattern so you can walk in clarity and compassion. One of the most profound spiritual truths is this: revelation is not about exposure. Revelation is about restoration. God reveals what is broken not to shame, but to heal. And the only reason this revelation has come to you first is because your heart is strong enough to hold truth without turning it into a weapon. Not everyone is capable of that. Many respond to revelation with rage, fear, or self-righteousness. But you respond with stillness. You respond with thoughtfulness. You respond with humility. Heaven sees your posture, and heaven trusts it. But this is also the moment when heaven asks something deeper of you. You must prepare your spirit for when truth surfaces, not through force, but through divine timing. It will happen quietly. A message she forgets to delete. A conversation you overhear unintentionally. A slip of the tongue. a moment when her eyes reveal more than her words. These small moments are how heaven reveals truth, softly, precisely, unmistakably, and when they come, you must remain anchored, anointed one. Your emotions may try to rise, your heart may tighten, your mind may race with questions. Why didn't she speak earlier? Why didn't she trust me? Why did she let it reach this point? These questions are natural, but do not let them take over. Heaven is not calling you to interrogate. Heaven is calling you to understand, and understanding requires peace. Understanding requires patience. Understanding requires the wisdom to separate someone's mistakes from their identity. Your sister is not your enemy. She's someone who lost her way, someone who let fear speak louder than faith, someone who carried wounds she never healed, someone who made a decision she thought would stay small. But small decisions made in darkness eventually grow until they impact others. And now that impact has reached you not to damage you, but to awaken you. I have lived through moments like this. Times when someone I loved carried a secret too heavy for their own heart, and the weight of it slipped into the atmosphere before it slipped into conversation. And I learned something sacred when heaven reveals the truth about someone close to you. It is because heaven intends to restore what was drifting. Revelation is always an act of love. Chosen one. You are being shaped into the kind of person who can stand firm in revelation without letting it shatter your peace. You are becoming someone who can hear spiritual truth without losing emotional control. Someone who can hold compassion even when the truth stings. This is spiritual maturity. This is prophetic growth. This is destiny alignment. The truth that is coming will not break you. It will clarify you. It will strengthen you. It will refine the bond between you and your sister, not immediately, but eventually. Heaven is guiding both of you toward healing, even if your paths look different right now. Chosen one. The scroll is still opening. The revelation is still deepening. And you are ready for what comes next. Chosen one. As we move into this next unfolding, feel how your spirit has gained strength compared to when this journey began. The fog that once clouded your emotions is clearing, and what is emerging now is clarity anchored in peace rather than fear. Heaven never reveals truth to weaken a soul. Heaven reveals truth to awaken a soul. And you, anointed one, are living proof that revelation does not have to shatter someone, it can shape them. What you are feeling now is the evidence of your spiritual posture, maturing, your discernment sharpening, and your heart aligning with heaven's intention rather than human reaction. You are walking through this revelation with a grace many people your age or in your position would not possess. And because of that, heaven can now reveal deeper layers, ones that were too delicate for the earlier stages of this journey. I need you to understand that what your sister has been entangled with did not only affect her behavior or her attitude, it affected her perception of you. When the heart is wounded, it struggles to see others clearly. It projects fears, insecurities, and unhealed memories onto people who never caused them. You became, without realizing it, the surface onto which she projected battles she could not name. Not because she disliked you, but because you unknowingly became her mirror, the one who reminded her of what she wished she could be, but didn't yet believe she was capable of becoming. You carry a spiritual brightness that exposes shadows without trying. And that light, which is a gift, can feel confrontational to someone who is hiding something. Chosen one. This is why some of her recent reactions have felt off, why she avoided your eyes, or answered you more sharply than usual, or withdrew from conversations she once initiated. You sensed these changes, and at first you blamed yourself. But nothing was wrong with you. Nothing. What you were feeling was the tension of someone trying to keep a shadow from being seen by someone who sees spiritually. And make no mistake, anointed one your spirit sees. You may not always know how to interpret what you feel, but you feel truth before truth speaks. That is a holy gift, one that heaven is refining right now. There is another layer you must be aware of. Your sister has not been intentionally malicious. She has been conflicted, torn between fear and honesty, torn between wanting to confess and wanting to hide, torn between needing help and fearing judgment. This internal tearing created emotional turbulence that spilled over into her behavior. She has been living in a spiritual imbalance that became heavier the longer she carried it. And because you share spiritual connection through family, that imbalance reached your atmosphere before it reached anyone else's. You didn't go looking for this revelation, it came looking for you. Because heaven knew you would not weaponize it, you would handle it with maturity. Chosen one. What is coming next in this journey will not be dramatic. It will be subtle but powerful. A truth will slip through the cracks. Perhaps a message she forgets to hide. Perhaps a conversation you overhear unintentionally. Perhaps a detail in her behavior that she cannot mask anymore. Heaven is not going to expose her publicly. Heaven will reveal the truth gently, privately, in a way that protects her dignity while still bringing clarity to you. That is how God works with those he loves. And make no mistake, he loves her just as deeply as he loves you. This revelation is not punishment. It is intervention, anointed. One, your role when that moment comes is crucial. You must remain calm. Not detached, not cold, just calm. Your calmness will disarm the spiritual tension. Your calmness will reassure her that she is not facing a judge, but a sibling who carries grace. Your calmness will allow her to speak instead of shut down. Heaven is asking you to hold peace so the truth can flow. You will not need to demand answers. You will not need to corner her. Truth has a way of rising on its own when the atmosphere is safe. And you, chosen one, are the safe place heaven is preparing for her. In my own journey, I learned that the highest form of discernment is not simply seeing truth, but responding to truth in a way that heals rather than harms. You are being called into that higher form now. There is a reason heaven gave this revelation to you first. You are the one who can carry it without letting it twist into anger. You are the one who can see someone's shadow without forgetting their humanity. You are the one who can hold truth and compassion at the same time. This is not weakness. This is prophetic maturity. Chosen one. What you will see in the coming days may feel heavy at first, but the heaviness will not break you. It will clarify you, it will ground you, and eventually it will heal both of you. You are not approaching a moment of destruction, you are approaching a moment of release, a moment where what has been hidden too long finally takes a breath in the light. Heaven is guiding both your steps and hers. And the scroll of this moment is still being written with wisdom, precision, and grace. Chosen one. As we step into this next sacred layer, feel how heaven is guiding your perception with even greater precision. You are no longer just sensing the atmosphere, you are beginning to understand it. You are no longer merely feeling the spiritual pressure, you are discerning its source. This is the mark of someone whose spirit is maturing under divine supervision. Heaven has been shaping you quietly, teaching you to see beneath surface emotions and into the deeper currents moving beneath your sister's behavior. What once felt like confusion is turning into clarity, and what once felt heavy is transforming into understanding. This is what happens when heaven brings someone into alignment with their prophetic purpose. Anointed One. The truth is that your sister has been carrying an internal conflict for much longer than you realized. Her silence was not emptiness, it was pressure. A silence full of fear, guilt, longing, and the weight of decisions she was never built to carry alone. There were moments when she almost confessed, moments when you sensed she wanted to open her heart but pulled back at the last second. That hesitation was not rejection. It was fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of disappointing the one person in the family she believes sees her clearly. Fear of facing consequences she isn't emotionally ready for. And that fear hardened into secrecy, which then hardened into spiritual heaviness. You felt that heaviness long before she even knew it was leaking out. This is what makes you different, chosen one. Your spirit responds to spiritual shifts faster than your mind can interpret them. You have always been this way. Even in childhood, you could sense when someone was troubled, even if they smiled. You could pick up on tension in the room, even when others were laughing. People have told you that you think too much, feel too much, notice too much. But heaven designed you that way. This sensitivity is not a flaw. It is a prophetic radar. And right now that radar is revealing truths about your sister that she doesn't yet have the courage to articulate. Chosen one. There is something sacred unfolding. Heaven is softening her heart. You will notice it soon, tiny moments where her behavior shifts, a look that lingers a little too long, a sigh she doesn't explain, a moment of vulnerability that slips out before she catches herself. These are signs that heaven is preparing her to face the things she has avoided. People do not change all at once. They change through small moments of spiritual pressure that crack open the hardened parts of their heart. And heaven has been applying that pressure gently, lovingly, consistently. But this is also the moment where heaven begins preparing you for what will follow. When truth comes forward, there may be emotion, tears, confusion, defensiveness, or even denial. This is normal. When a soul has been carrying something heavy, letting go of, it feels both freeing and terrifying. Your role is not to push or force. Your role is to create a safe atmosphere where truth can breathe. When she finally opens up, she will not need a judge. She will need a witness, someone who sees her without magnifying her mistake, someone who listens without rushing to fix, someone who holds space for honesty without collapsing under its weight. You are that witness. In my own life, I have learned that the most transformative conversations do not happen through confrontation. They happen through presence. When someone feels safe, they speak. When someone feels judged, they shut down. Heaven has chosen you because you carry presence. You carry calmness. You carry compassion that does not bend truth, but also does not weaponize it. You carry the rare ability to see someone at their lowest and still recognize their potential. This is one of the highest spiritual callings a person can hold. The revelation you are about to witness will require patience. It will require stillness. It will require that you breathe through the emotions that rise within you. Do not let fear guide your tongue. Do not let shock lead your response. Heaven is asking you to remain rooted, grounded, steady, because your steadiness will give her the courage to speak freely. Truth flourishes in peace, not pressure. And you, chosen one, are the vessel of peace heaven is establishing in this moment. In the days ahead, expect subtle shifts in timing, unexpected moments when you find yourselves alone, situations where conversation opens naturally. Do not rush these moments. Let them unfold with grace. Heaven is orchestrating every detail, ensuring the truth surfaces in a way that protects both her heart and yours. You are not being led into chaos, you are being led into clarity. Truth is not coming to break your family, it is coming to heal your lineage. Chosen one, hold your peace. Heaven is still moving, still revealing, still guiding both of you step by step. Chosen one. As we enter this deeper stretch of your revelation, feel how heaven is steadying your thoughts, slowing your breathing, and aligning your spirit with a clarity you did not have weeks or even days ago. You are no longer standing at the edge of this truth. You are walking inside it with a level of spiritual grounding that shows just how prepared your soul has become. Revelation is no longer shaking you. It is shaping you. Anointed one, your sister has been carrying an inner storm that she never intended for you to feel, but because the two of you are spiritually connected, her unrest naturally echoed through your atmosphere. You sensed it long before she admitted it, even to herself. That sensitivity is not an accident. It is an inheritance. Heaven gave it to you because your destiny requires the ability to recognize danger, even when it hides behind calm faces and steady voices. This next phase is not about discovering more secrets. It is about understanding the emotional landscape that allowed those secrets to grow. Your sister has been wrestling with a fear of inadequacy that began years ago. She felt overshadowed, overlooked, and unseen in ways she never expressed. Those unspoken insecurities created gaps in her spirit. And gaps always become entrances when left unguarded. Heaven is not condemning her for this. Heaven is revealing it, so healing can begin. You may have noticed moments when she compared herself to you quietly, not through words, but through her eyes, her silence, her body language. She admired you, yet felt distant from the person she believed she should be. That conflict pulled her into decisions shaped by fear rather than faith. And because fear is a poor guide, those decisions led her into spiritual territory she was not equipped to navigate. Heaven is showing you this so you understand her humanity before you respond to her truth. Chosen one. There is something sacred happening inside her even now. Her spirit is growing tired of hiding. You may see subtle signs, soon a softness in her tone, a moment where she starts a sentence and stops, or a question she asks that feels deeper than the surface topic. These moments are heaven's way of softening her heart, preparing her for honesty. Healing rarely starts with a full confession. It starts with cracks, and her walls are beginning to crack. When the truth rises, she may feel ashamed. She may worry about how you will see her. She may assume that you will look at her differently. But your presence, your steadiness, your calm response will become the bridge she needs. Mercy disarms guilt. Peace disarms fear. Truth held in love becomes medicine, and heaven chose you because you carry all three in your spirit without even trying. Anointed one. This does not mean you must be perfect. You will still feel emotions. You may still feel disappointed or confused. But those emotions do not disqualify your role. They show your humanity, and heaven works through humanity, not apart from it. What matters is your intention. Heaven is calling you to be a place where truth lands safely, a place where someone can break without being broken further, a place where healing begins rather than ends. There is something else you must know. Restored connections often carry more strength than connections that never broke. When healing begins between you and your sister, heaven will use your conversation not only to free her, but to free you from old memories, from silent expectations, from emotional burdens you carried without realizing it. The truth that is coming is not only her release, it is yours as well. Chosen one, hold steady. Heaven is preparing both hearts at the same time, and the timing will be perfect. Chosen one. As we enter this final stretch of revelation, understand that everything you have walked through until now has been preparation. Not punishment, not chaos, not coincidence, preparation. Heaven has been shaping your heart, steadying your spirit, and enlarging your capacity to hold truth without collapsing under its weight. You began this journey uncertain, sensing things you couldn't explain, feeling pressures you couldn't name. But now, anointed one, you stand in a clarity that only heaven could have authored. You are no longer reacting to what you feel. You are interpreting what you feel. That shift is proof that your discernment has matured into spiritual authority. This last phase concerns alignment, restoration, and release. You have learned what happened. You have learned why it happened. Now heaven is teaching you what to do with what you know. The truth you carry is delicate. It is sacred. It is not a weapon. It is not meant to be thrown like a stone at your sister's heart. It is meant to be carried like oil, carefully, intentionally, with full awareness that how you hold it determines what it becomes. Oil can heal, or it can spill, and heaven trusts you because you hold things with gentleness, even when the truth itself is heavy. Anointed one. Your sister is entering her own moment of awakening. Heaven is beginning to remove the fog from her thoughts. She may not understand why she suddenly feels emotional, reflective, or restless. She may not connect her inner stirring to anything you have felt, but her spirit is being prepared. Heaven is working on her from angles she cannot see, softening her defenses, loosening the knots in her heart, and making space for honesty. These shifts may appear small at first, but they are significant. A softened heart is the beginning of transformation. In the coming days, the atmosphere between you may feel different, lighter at times, heavier at others. Do not be alarmed by this. It is the evidence of heaven repositioning both of your spirits so the truth can enter without causing destruction. Healing that lasts rarely happens all at once. It begins with stillness, with softened emotions, with unexpected vulnerability. You may find her standing near your doorway as if she wants to speak. You may hear her sigh in a way that carries weight. She may ask you a simple question that feels loaded with meaning underneath. These are not random moments. These are openings. Chosen. One, your role now is to maintain inner calm. Your peace is what creates safety. When the truth rises, she will look to your face first, not for confirmation, but for permission. She needs to know she can speak without being condemned. And your presence, your tone, your posture will tell her everything she needs to know before she says a single word. When she speaks, let your heart lead before your thoughts do. Let compassion rise before analysis. Let grace rise before reaction. Heaven is not asking you to ignore the truth. Heaven is asking you to handle it in a way that multiplies healing instead of hurt. There is one more thing heaven wants you to understand. The restoration coming is not simply between you and your sister. It will spill into your home, your relationships, and even your personal destiny. Hidden tension drains spiritual energy. Once this tension is released, your spirit will feel lighter, clearer, more grounded. You will pray differently. You will dream differently. You will discern with sharper accuracy. The spiritual weight that once clouded your days will lift, and when it lifts, blessings that were delayed will finally find you. Heaven could not release them while deception lingered in the atmosphere, but now that obstruction is dissolving. Anointed one, this is your inheritance, clarity, peace, restoration, spiritual authority. You are not just uncovering truth, you are transforming your bloodline. Years from now, you will look back at this moment and understand that heaven trusted you with something fragile because heaven saw strength in you that you didn't even recognize. You were the one chosen to break the cycle, to stop the spiritual leakage, to restore what fear had fractured. Chosen one, 1C and 1C Bray. Breathe deeply now. The hardest part is behind you. The holiest part is ahead. Walk gently, speak softly, and let heaven finish what it started. Chosen one. As this message comes to a close, feel the stillness settling over your spirit, for heaven has marked this moment on your hidden scroll. You are standing inside your kairos hour, the exact point on heaven's clock, where revelation meets readiness, where truth becomes transformation. What has been unveiled tonight was not to overwhelm you, but to awaken you, to show you that your discernment, your compassion, and your courage have aligned with a prophecy written for you before your first breath. Walk forward now with holy confidence, knowing the veil has lifted and your steps are guided by light. Stay faithful, stay aligned, and stay open to the whispers that follow, because your next chapter is already unfolding. If your spirit felt this word, share your amen below and remain connected for what heaven releases next. Rise, anointed one. Your time has come.